everyone, welcome back to our E3 live stream. I'm here with PJ from Crytek. How you doing, buddy?
Good, very good.
We're checking out Ryse. We have a demo coming up right here, some of the gameplay. I believe we saw this yesterday.
Yes.
During the Xbox One press conference, and I have a few questions for you.
Sure, fire away.
First one, what happened last year? We saw it on Connect 1.0.
Yes, yeah.
And now I see it being worked with a controller.
Yes.
What happened during development that you said, we need to port this to a new console and we need to put more controls behind it?
Yeah, so, you know, Crytek, we're core gamers, right? So when we said, all right, we're going to make a Connect fighting game, we really went for it. So we had a navigation model that worked really well. We had a combat system that was working pretty well. But what you find working with Connect, and it's not anything to do with the hardware, it's really a design problem. So the issue is, I always tell everyone the same kind of example. Put 100 people in a room and tell them row a boat. Right? Everyone rows a freaking boat differently, right? So the issue is that, you know, when you go to making a fighting game, you want to teach someone to strike or block or something like that, you're having to teach them how to interface with the Kinect rather than play a game. You know what I mean?
Gotcha.
So the basic idea is that, you know, we tried our best and we said, okay, well, at some point we have to start making the game we want to make. We want to make this Roman game that's really immersive, and we want this kind of, you know, intimate, you know, action, this intimate kind of fighting system. So basically, we made these 3 prototypes. One was full Kinect, one was Kinect plus controller, and one was just controller. And we had the team kind of go and play it. And what ended up happening was it was 30-30-30, so really, you know, we kind of, like, everyone sort of liked something different. So we said, okay, well, Crytek's never made a third-person action adventure. This sounds really, you know, good to us. We have awesome tech, let's see what we can do. Let's, you know, challenge ourselves. And so that kind of led to the current iteration we're at right now. And, you know, honestly, it's really, you know, game development, there is no real path, you know, so you start out some way, you try things, it doesn't really work out, and at some point you go, okay, well, what's the game we want to make? And that was the time we shifted it, so.
Gotcha.
Yep.
Well, for those who missed the demo, I think we're going to start rolling the footage right
Cool.
now, going through the demo. But like you said right there, Crytek, you've been known for a little game called Crisis.
Yes, yeah.
1, 2, and 3, and the some of the spin-offs like Warhead and stuff.
Yep.
But I haven't seen a lot of third person. How was it going from, did Ryse originally start out as first person, then move to third person?
Yeah, so when it was a Connect title, it was first person, you know, combat, just like you saw in the video 2 years ago. So then we said, okay, we're going to do third person, and it was like, well, how do we do third person? Like, what do we want to own about it? Because there's lots of already, you know, there's games that are 4 or 5, you know, iterations deep into their kind of, you know, their IP.
Right.
And we're like, well, you know, we don't like to sit in the back seat at Crytek. You know, we want to, you know, push innovation and stuff. So basically, we said, you know, we don't want to lose this kind of close feeling that we had when we were making the first person, like, you know, hack and slash type game.
Right.
And so we kind of, you know, we inherited that kind of philosophy from that game, and we decided to put it in a third person perspective, right? So the first thing we did is we hired a cinematics director, a guy who's actually held a real movie camera, and we said, like, you know, help us, we want this to be as cinematic as possible. And so we developed this really slick camera system that always frames combat. It's able to interpolate smoothly into kind of our executions. And then on top of that, we're like, what's next gen gonna be about? We can already do the long draw distances. People know we can, you know, fill stuff with particles, and we're like, it's gonna be 6 feet to 6 inches. It's gonna be facial. We want facial on as many guys as possible. So what you're actually seeing here, like the face on Marius Titus, this is the same face in the game.
Right.
So whatever emotion we can get here, from real performance capture, one-to-one actor, we can get in the actual game. And then once we did that, we're like, well, everyone else kind of looks a bit dopey. And they're like, now we got to put facial on everybody. So when you watch, you know, the demo that I played earlier at the press conference, you'll see that the barbarians also will grimace. They'll kind of have these looks of anticipation. So yeah, I mean, that's really, you know, our key message is, you know, we're pushing for this kind of, you know, this next step in next gen, which is, you know, we want to pull emotion out of the characters. We want combat to resonate. We want it to feel gritty and realistic, you know, dangerous.
Well, I have to ask you too, just about the setting.
Yeah.
I mean, what I kind of like about these newer generations of games, I feel like we're starting to be able to go places we could never go before.
Exactly, yeah.
Examples like BioShock Infinite. Never thought I'd be in that time period ever, or like Assassin's Creed, going to different crazy, you know, being able to be in any kind of strange, we can go almost anywhere now.
Yes.
You don't see a lot of games that take place during the Roman massacre of Normandy. But why did you guys choose to go with this specific time period?
Well, so it kind of came about, and we were really fascinated with Rome. Okay, so Rome, it's still a culture that resonates today with us because, you know, all of these ideals, you know, like you know, they had the Senate, and they had, like, you know, Caesar, and they had all this kind of like real, you know, drama and stuff like that. And so basically, when we looked at the time period, we're like, you know, Rome, you know, you have Spartacus, you had like the Rome TV series, you had Gladiator, and it really, you know, as a developer, when someone says, hey, do you want to do a game about Rome? You don't really go, well, nah, I think I want to do, you know, another sci-fi type game. You really just jump on it because there's just so much material, right? So,
And getting into the gameplay mechanics, reading online, catching up on everything, the very first piece of criticism was there's a lot of QuickTime events.
Yeah, totally. And this is the thing that I've been trying to really stress lately is that these actually are not QuickTime events, right? We have our combat system, it's called like mashing to mastery. And the basic idea is that you can spam the button and you could play the game just fine. But if you actually get the proper timing of like hitting the deflect at the right time, you open up your enemies longer, and it eventually brings you to these execution moves. You get a guy to an execution move, and instead of just stopping there and playing a movie, we're like, well, we want to keep the flow going.
Right.
So we give you the ability to hit these buttons, and basically each one gives you like a higher level bonus on top of your combo modifier. Mm-hmm. And the general idea is to keep the kind of flow going through combat. And we didn't, you know, we really wanted to get over this hump of like, okay, I love combat, but then I disengage for 5 seconds. It plays a cool animation, which is fine after 30 minutes, but after that, it's just like you kind of get tired. You just want to play more game.
Right.
And that's the basis of that system. And you know that will feed into kind of another reward system we'll talk about later. You know, you'll have over 100 executions to unlock, and each execution will sort of have its own variation of this kind of bonus award kind of mini game stuff. So.
Well, and then also gameplay wise, we are seeing a variety right here.
Yeah,
we're doing
totally.
The turtle combat shell lane of. I really should have done some research on Roman history before I got here, but obviously I'm not very versed in that.
Turtle, Tortuga.
Was it called Tortuga? That's what it was.
Or Testudo, same thing. Yeah.
I'm sure you're just buried in this stuff.
Oh yeah, I mean it's been 2 years of studying Rome, which has been awesome, you know. So.
But in terms of gameplay variety, how much more will we see beyond just basic combat and what we've seen here? What else do you guys have in mind? Obviously, I mean.
So this is not even all of the formation gameplay we have. So this is just basic range formation gameplay, right? So you have archers that are firing against you. You block them. You throw your pilums back at them. But we'll also have other ones we'll talk about at a later time, just to kind of give you more, we have a little bit more depth plan for the formation sequences. Gotcha. But you also have ranged weapons. So you'll have pilums that you could throw on more of kind of like, you know, typical range combat. Mm-hmm. Within combat, you'll have some quick throw items like flechettes, which are kind of like a, you know, spread kind of weapon. Mm-hmm. And so, yeah, there'll be a lot of kind of, you know, more things that you can do other than just hit with your sword and shield.
Right, and not to beat a dead horse here, but every time I think Crytek, I always think of Crisis, obviously.
Yeah, totally.
And with the last 2 games, Profit being such a focus of the game, of character actually being kind of the centerpiece, is that what you guys are doing here with your main character? Is this a story that want to follow character around, or is it more of just, let's see how many times I can murder a barbarian?
So, you know, obviously you can see the kind of positioning, right? So we said 6 feet to 6 inches. We're going to make a killer story. We're going to have like great looking characters on screen, and we're not going to have any fidelity difference between cinematics and in-game. But, you know, just to give you a bit of a, I mean, we have 15 characters that have been full performance captured, where we're trying to do one-to-one with real actors. So, I mean, this is Crytek's biggest undertaking as far as story. So, I mean, we're really gunning to have something that's really, you know, very Roman and very kind of, you know, different than what you've seen in a lot of other Crytek games.
Right, and you guys being Crytek, of course, you're always pushing technology to the next level. I mean, Crysis 3 max settings on PC.
Beautiful, yeah.
Ridiculous, and what we're seeing right here is all Xbox One.
Yep.
How is the software transitioning to the hardware? Has it been a good transition using the x86 architecture?
Well, see, I mean, the thing is with us at Crytek, whether it's a high-end PC, they're never high-end enough, right? Whether it's an iPhone, like we had a game called Fibble that looked fantastic on iPad, or, you know, the Xbox One, we really just choke whatever we can out of the hardware. I mean, we really see it as like, you know, means to an end. And so when we're looking at the Xbox One, we're kind of thinking, what's better than the 360, right? And it's like, boom, we got more memory, we can push more polys. You know, even in this demo itself, we have technology that, you know, actually works better on Xbox One than it does on PC. So I mean, it's, you know, we make for whatever the hardware it is. And like I was telling you before the interview, you know, to get to where we are for E3, we burned out a lot of boxes because, you know, that's just the Crytek thing to do, right?
I've heard that story a lot of times. I actually want to see footage of an Xbox melting in someone's office someday. Just some security footage of just a small explosion. I'm not sure that'd be a good PR thing, but
it's the sound of it is it's memorable.
We literally melted an Xbox. Well, we're coming to the end of the interview here. We just saw the gameplay demo. I want to get to one of our questions from one of our fans.
Sure,
I believe Stephen Larson is standing by, and we have one question. I want to hear from you guys what we have here for PJ.
From Brendan Egan.
Yeah, Ryse question.
Go ahead.
What if any Kinect integration are used in the Ryse Son of Rome?
I don't know if you heard that, but the Kinect integration into Rome, or into Ryse. Why did I say Rome? What will you be what kind of Connect capabilities would be worked into Ryse?
So I mean, Xbox One gives us a couple of cool things. Obviously, it's Connect, and then there's a smart glass, right? So what the Connect will give you is, you saw the demo where they had the left button prompt, like, you know, Archer's Fire. This is, you know, your kind of the command you can use the Connect voice for. So the basic idea is that the controller, that makes me the warrior. My voice makes me the general, right? So when you're in these big fights, you'll be able to say, you know, Archer's Fire, and your archers will actually cover you. And there's a little bit more features we'll reveal in the future, but the general idea is that the voice makes you the general. But there was still a button prompt up there, because out of a lot of testing, we found out that us as core gamers, we don't just like knowing you can say something. We want to know that there's a time where you can trigger it, at a specific time you make it happen. And you know, so we're really working on getting that to be as crisp and clean as possible.
Right.
So.
And what if, like, I'm a soft-spoken person, and if I go, Archer's Fire, like, and they can't hear me?
Yeah.
Obviously, I mean, there's also some people who are mute.
Yep.
Like, play video games, obviously, Connect is not required to play the game,
Yes,
right?
you'll always have the button backup, right?
Very cool.
And so the button backup, and there's kind of a fun little mechanic that we'll reveal later on about that. But the general idea is that, yeah, we actually, you know, like I said before when we were doing, you know, Connect stuff, we got a lot of learning that we're able to pull into Ryse, and that really kind of helped us go, okay, well, let's make something no nonsense, right? Let's make it actually work and function so core gamers can go, yeah, that's a cool feature. I mean, last thing we want to do is something lame, and this was kind of the thing that we've always set out to not do, right?
Excellent. Well, it's always exciting to see what Crytek's cooking up. You guys always do cool stuff. When does the game come out?
We are a launch title and Xbox One exclusive. So.
Very cool. PJ, thank you for stopping by, man. Appreciate it.
Brother.
Thank you guys for watching. We're going to check out Batman Arkham Origins right now, an interview we did a little while ago. Enjoy.